And what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It is your boy Cheap Ludes, and I'm back with another video. Too many today. Anyways, we're gonna be talking about my team limited because this week's limited is actually super interesting. Now, you're only allowed one diamond or pink diamond player, one amethyst, one ruby, and then the rest have to be sapphire or below. So, let's talk about some options here. I was going to do an actual squad builder, but honestly it's so subjective based on your playstyle and the cards you have available that doing a squad builder is not really worthwhile, I don't think. So I'm just going to talk about various options at every tier that work well for people. So we'll start with like Ruby tier. Yeah, Robert Pack works really well. Daniel Gibson at Sapphire, he's extremely good. Yeah, let's just go tier by tier. Let's do that. So, at the Sapphire tier, Mo Cheeks, if you're looking for like a defensive stopper, is incredibly good. He's not going to be a great shooter, but he is going to play out of this world defense, and he can run rim really well as well. He has like gold quick first step and like giant slayer, relentless finisher. He's just not like a big dunker. He also has dimer and unpluckable and silver floor general. So, give you a little bit of offensive boost off the bench if need be. Daniel Gibson is actually really good. Patrick Beverly is also a really good defensive stopper. Dennis Smith Jr. is an absolute god at running rim, so that's an option. George Hill is probably my favorite point guard to use in the Sapphire tier, just because he has an 85 shot 3. He's got catch and shoot, he's got quick first step, unpluckable, good defensive badges in silver. He also can get like difficult shots and stuff like that. So Dennis Smith Jr., like I said, rim running god at Sapphire. Patrick Beverly, really good defensive stopper. Other than that, those are pretty much all the Sapphire point guards I could recommend using. If you're good with someone else, go for it. As far as Ruby, you're going to run into Chris Paul, you're going to run into Kenny Smith. I don't recommend using those guys. Same with Steph. Not a big fan of Steph Curry. He has 0 hot zones. Jay Williams, if you like to run rim, is extremely good. He's almost unstoppable attacking the basket and can shoot a little bit. Damon Stoudemire, if you have him evo'd, is incredibly good as well. It's just a matter of if you have him evo'd. Basie's pretty good, but there's better options. Robert Pack, once again, another rim running option, pretty good. Doc Rivers is a good true point guard if you're looking for someone to run kind of true point that can shoot a little bit. Doc Rivers is definitely going to be right up your alley. So, and anyone else you're really good with. Byron Scott's really good. I'll talk about him later, though. As far as Amethyst here, if you want to use your Amethyst on a point guard, chances are Donovan Mitchell, Rubio, Steve Francis, or Richie Guerin are going to be one of the guys that you'd want to use. I don't recommend, or Sleepy Floyd. Sleepy Floyd's really good, too. If you're a rim running person, Derrick Rose isn't bad for what you're going to be doing anyway. Diamond point guard, I mean, honestly, any of the diamonds that you're good with will be good. If you want to do Monte, if you have them, cool. So as far as shooting guards, JJ Redick's really good. I'm not going to build my team completely right now, but I am just going to put some cards in here so I can get the right position. So where's my guy? I'll throw Byron Scott in here. Wait, what? Oh yeah, Byron Scott. All right. So let's check some shooting guards out. JJ Redick's a really good option as far as an Emerald goes. He shoots really, really well. I do have another guy at the Sapphire tier who I think is a little bit better than him that you can still use and doesn't eat up any of your spots. Clay's pretty good too if you have Clay. I like him quite a bit. He's got a lot of size and good defensive badges too. Duncan Robinson, for my money, is probably the best one. I'm a huge fan of Duncan, at least using him on either the starting unit or the bench, just depending where you need shooting at. He's lethal from outside. He's 6'7". He's got a lot of size. He's a really good card, decent speed too. He can attack the rim a little bit. You'll run into Bradley Beal quite a bit. I'm not a huge fan of this Bradley Beal card, but I'm just not a fan of Bradley Beal cards in general. So if he works for you and you do well with him, I definitely recommend using him. I would just rather use like Duncan Robinson or something. Eric Gordon is really, really good. You're going to run into him a lot too. Nick Anderson just came out today, and he is absolutely insane. Obviously, Kyle Korver as well came out today. He does have gold range, standard gold hot zone hunter. He's got a good 3, and he's got a nice size of 6'6". Ray Allen, James Harden are also good options if you need scoring punch. Buddy Hield's really good too. For shooting guards, I think there's only a couple choices that really make sense, which is like Klay Thompson or Michael Cooper. Yeah, other than that, there's not very many. So, Ben McLemore is the best Emerald small forward. It's not even remotely close. He might be one of the better Emerald cards in this game. Hot Zone Hunter, corner specialist, catch and shoot, all gold, with a pretty money jump shot and a good 3-point rating. Really good card. He's a little bit on the expensive side, so if you don't have him already, I mean, he's like 4Ks. Unless you're using him for something consistently, it's not really worth 4K. Xavier McDaniel is a really good Sapphire option, though he plays better at power forward. He's going to be big, he's going to grab boards, he's going to attack the rim. That's something to definitely think about. Robert Horry is a good shooting, and he's at 6'10". Kawhi Leonard works really well. I'm just not a huge fan of him, personally, just because of his shot. He has that dynamic duo with Danny Green that raises his 3-point up a little bit. It's still not great, though. He doesn't really have badges. So, Josh Jackson, similar problem to Kawhi Leonard. Not a great shooter, great defender. Wally Szczerbiak shoots the ball really well. So we'll go up to the Ruby tier. Andrew Wiggins and Steven Jackson are obviously the apex here, but you could get away with doing Bruce Bowen or Brent Berry if you need shooting, or if you're Mills, Joe Ingles for whatever reason. Keith Van Horn's pretty good, I guess, if you want to. I wouldn't waste your small forward on an Amethyst. There's just not very many good ones. Like, all these guys shoot the ball really well, but you can do that with a bunch of the guys I talked about in the tier below, so. Same with diamonds. Like, I wouldn't really waste it on any of those guys. Like, yeah, if you want to use it on Grant Hill, I totally understand. So, power forwards, Jeff Green is honestly my favorite lower tier power forward when it comes to, like, Sapphires or Emeralds. Like, he's absolutely incredible, and I just think he might be the best power forward that's below Sapphire in the game, or even at Sapphire tier as far as right now. Jared Jeffries is also really good. Shane Battier is good. I would use him at small forward, but you can duo him with Chris Bosh, and it raises both their 3 points up a little bit, gets them a little bit better at shooting, so that is an option as well. The rest of the guys, if you're good with them, like, go ahead and use them, but I don't recommend using any of them. Tom Hinesom's really good. Al Harrington's pretty good as well. I'm not very good with him, but some people are. So if you're one of those people, he's definitely a card I would recommend using. He's good in the paint. He can shoot really well. He's got good shooting badges. He has a decent jump shot. He has steady shooter, which is not that big of a detriment. Ruby, I wouldn't use, like, a lot of these guys, honestly. I think Thurl Bailey is really the only one that I would recommend using. Like, yeah, I don't think any of them. Boris Diaw, Tom Gugliotta, Bailey Howell, all these guys are really good amethysts. Yeah, Andre Karolinko to a lesser extent too. Dave DeBusschere if you have them. These are all amethyst cards you can get away with using if you want to use that on your small forward / power forward. Tim Duncan, obviously really good. Amari and Josh Smith, if you want to go that route for your pink diamond or diamond, I understand. So let's go over to centers. Center tier, Emeralds, I mean, honestly, none of these guys are really worth it. Like, Thon Maker's not very good. As far as Sapphires, Chris Bosh works really well. The Exchange, Karl Anthony Towns is a good offensive big at the Sapphire tier. Starter Shaq's really nice. Kristaps and Vlade are probably really, honestly, some of the best options. As far as Ruby, though, Ruby is where we get a Bargnani, Rafe LaFrentz. Either one of those two are incredibly good Ruby big men, as well as Dino Raja. Dino Raja is still like 2,000 MT. And he can do so much defensively that it ends up being worth that 2,000. He'll hold the middle down as well defensively as guys who are up in, like, the diamond and pink diamond tier. Like, I'm not kidding. He really will. Roy Hibbert's really big. Tyson Chandler plays good defense, but it's still not worth using a Ruby slot on that guy. Just being honest with you. Bargnani is probably the better offensive one total, so I'll probably use Bargnani. I'm just going to fill out my squad right now that I will be using. Let's see, where's my guy? Jeff Green. Just to give you an example of the squad I'll be running. I'm going to use, where is he? Michael Cooper for defense, I think. Yeah, I think so. Michael Cooper for defense. He also has that dynamic duo with Byron Scott. So, and then we'll use Grant Hill. So that's the squad I'll be running. But anyways, I'll talk more about centers here. Let's see. What other center options do we have at the Ruby tier? I mean, nah, yeah. So as far as the Amethyst tier, unless you're using Kristaps or Karl-Anthony Towns for spacing purposes, I don't think it's worth it. I mean, to be honest, neither of those two guys are that much better than Raef LaFrentz and Bargnani. Kristaps obviously has that size, but as far as pure badges and shooting ability, and to a much lesser extent, like I don't think any of these centers at Diamond tier are better than Dino Raja, or at least that much better that it's worth using a slot. And like I said, to a much lesser extent, I don't think Bob Lanier and Moses Malone are worth using a spot on when you have Dino Raja, because he's not that much worse than those guys defensively and at attacking the rim, especially with those giant arms. So yeah, and Dave Cowens is just a little too, he's not going to be the guy you run your offense through. You will run into some T-Macs, some Manu Ginobili, some Dominiques, so that's why I have Michael Cooper in there to contain those guys. Monte, Darren Williams you'll run into. I doubt you'll run into too many Drazen Petrovics. If you do, he's very one-dimensional, so it's pretty easy to stop that. John Stockton you'll run into pretty frequently. I don't think you'll run into much of these guys. Kevin Love maybe some Paul George too, as well. It just kind of depends. I wouldn't recommend using Paul George. He's too one-dimensional. He's just a 3-and-D guy. It's not worth using your diamond on that. Donovan Mitchell is a really, really good Amethyst to use. Same with Sleepy Floyd. I talked about him a little bit earlier, but Ricky Rubio is a floor general point guard, and if that's kind of what you're looking for, he's a really good option to run as an Amethyst point. Richie Guerin, he's like a pure scorer. He's not going to do much to help the team out, but he'll be there if you need somebody to pack a scoring punch. Yeah, I don't really recommend using any of the rest of these guys. Like I said, Bobby Jones is not, he's not good enough, period, to be used in the Ruby slot. Eric Gordon's good, like I said. Raef LaFrentz, obviously. Bargnani, Dino Raja, all excellent Ruby big men options. Nick Anderson is absolutely excellent for a shooting guard or a small forward option if you need that. You can pick him up for like $3K right now. Steven Jackson's really good, same price. Jay Williams is an absolutely unstoppable force driving to the rim, so if you want to go that route with your point guard, you can. And as far as Sapphire and below guys, Xavier McDaniels, Mo Cheeks, Bradley Beal, Chris Bosh, Robert Horry, any of the current guys if you're good with them. Daniel Gibson is my guy. 88 three-pointer, 75 standing dunk. He's got catch and shoot, corner specialist, giant slayer, quick first step, flexible release, all gold, 21 gold badges in total. You're going to run into this LeBron a lot, and if you're good with him, use him, but I don't really think he's worth it, personally. But at the same time, it's also just like a Sapphire slot, so it's not really that big of a deal. Just use whatever Sapphire and below cards you're good with, and you should be fine. There's really no OP ones that are better than the rest, if that makes sense. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching the video. Please like, comment, and especially subscribe if you're new. Other than that, I'll be back with daily NBA 2K21 My Team content, like literally every single day. Check out the Twitch, twitch.tv/cheapludes. Check out the Patreon, patreon.com/cheapludes, and I'll see you later.